serious, what are some life-saving tips you think people need to know, and in what situation would they be used? If you fall into water, don't panic. You don't have to be able to swim, you just have to float. Hold your breath and let yourself bob to the surface. If someone is in trouble in the water, they will absolutely kill you in mindless panic. Bring something with you, a float, a rope, a towel, and use that to bridge the gap between you, so you can tow the person in. If you must make direct contact, come up from behind and slip your arm across the victim's chest. Pull the victim's back to your chest and keep his/her arms facing away from you. I've been in the death grip of a fat little 8-year-old, and he nearly took me out. If a panicked drowner does grab you, do everything in your power to go down toward the bottom. Most will let go, that's the last place they want to go. Recognize that even if you are both a strong swimmer and a trained rescuer, you are still risking your own life if you go to the aid of a swimmer in trouble. Take it very seriously. Tried to help my brother's friend who didn't know how to swim once. He was a 14-year-old 6'8" Nigerian, jumped in the lake with a life jacket on. As he drifts a bit away from the boat he starts panicking a bit, so I dive in casually without a life jacket on, thinking I'll pull him over to the boat and we'll be fine. Nope. He absolutely ducking panics, climbs on top me, riding my shoulders. Keep in mind not only is he 6'8", he has a ducking life jacket on, and keeping me from getting any air, and struggling harder than I've ever struggled for what felt like 10 minutes. Friend dove in and somehow separated us, probably saved my life. Haven't been in the lake since. A few survival tips for mainly the desert, but also a lot of places. If you are lost in the desert, or a lot of places for that matter, the number one thing you can carry to increase your chances of being found is a small reflective mirror. Anytime a plane flies overhead you can reflect light towards them, and you greatly increase your chances of being found. This seriously is more important than carrying more water with you. Not that water doesn't help, it's just not realistic to carry that much water on your back. Furthermore, if you get stranded in the desert with a vehicle, do not leave your vehicle to find people. You are a lot harder to see than your vehicle, and your car can provide shelter. Your car has some good reflective mirrors to signal with, especially the rear view mirror. Finally, the universal sign for needing to be rescued is waving 2 arms up and down. If you wave only one arm to a passing plane, you will not be helped, or at least are less likely to be helped. Also, because a few people have been wondering what to do if you can't use both of your arms, there is another universal way to signal for help that is more versatile. The way I can best describe it is 3 of anything quick signal. 3 gunshots, 3 whistle blows, 3 flashes of a flashlight, 3 flashes from a reflective mirror, etc. Just make sure they are spaced widely enough, at least 1 second, and that you spend a considerable time before making your next 3 signals. When you're making a turn across oncoming traffic, keep your wheels pointing straight ahead until the opportunity comes for you to make the turn. If your wheels are facing into the turn and someone hits you from behind, they will push you into the oncoming traffic and dead you will go. If you find yourself hurt in a public place, direct your pleas to one person, not to the crowd, cause everyone will think that somebody else will help you. It is called the bystander effect. One of the reasons in CPR/first aid training they tell you to point someone out and say, "You." Call 911. Do not pull objects, knife, glass, splinter etc. from a deep wound. They might be sealing or slowing flow from an artery, or they might cut an artery when you pull them out. Put pressure around such an object to slow bleeding till emergency responders take over. If it's in someone's eye, don't pull it out. Wrap it to secure if possible. Cover both eyes to minimize them trying to look around and cause damage. A person who is drowning doesn't look like people drowning on TV. When someone is drowning they rarely cry out, can't wave their arms around, and will often just bob/sink at the surface for a very little while, often gasping, before submerging. Don't expect it to look like the movies when you're keeping an eye on swimmers. If someone is choking but they are coughing/talking, do not intervene. Let them cough it out. The ability to cough is a sign that air is able to get in and out, and that they only have a partial obstruction in their airway. If you try to intervene with the Heimlich or back blows, you could force it out, or you could dislodge the blockage and cause a full obstruction. Obviously, if they're not breathing or coughing, then you should definitely administer back blows. Just remember to check in between each one in case you partially dislodge the object. I live near the Gulf of Mexico. At the end of one of our beaches, there is a waterway with a heinous rip current. There are signs everywhere, in many languages, warning people not to get in that water, to stay off the jetty. Every single year people drown there because they ignore those signs. I was there every day last week, and each time there were tourists climbing on the wet and slippery jetty despite the signs and the obviously wild water. My tip is for people to obey warning signs. They are there for a reason. If you think you're being followed, turn right 4 times. Since you'll get to the same place, they shouldn't be following you anymore. If they do, you might be in trouble. Since it's a common warning that you shouldn't go home when you think someone is following you, the smartest is to go to a police station. If someone is beating you and you can't resist, the best is to lie on the ground and cover your head. This is usually known because it obviously protects the most important place in your body, but it is also important because it will make the aggressor feel guilty and probably leave you. The smartest is to go to a police station. I personally wouldn't recommend this unless you don't have a phone on you. Call the police while you are driving and have them pulled over. I follow people for a living. If you go to a police station, I'm long gone before you have a chance to park. Doubly so for the bad guys. You would probably want me stopped, ID'd, and let the police see if I'm up to something really bad. Also, if the person is still following you after 4 right turns, call the cops. They are not a professional investigating you. A professional would have broken off. They are someone following you for not so nice reasons. If you're performing CPR on someone who's stopped breathing / heart has stopped, don't stop until EMTs take the body away. Don't stop after 2 minutes thinking, well, that didn't work. CPR typically won't cause the victim's heart to suddenly start, and or for them to jerk awake. It's mostly to force blood circulation to prevent brain death. You're not forcing life into them, you're preserving a corpse to keep a revivable state. If you're stuck in a stampede, as soon as you get knocked down, your chances decrease significantly. If this is the case, however, and you can't get up immediately, assume a protective posture with your feet tucked up and your hands covering your head. Try to position your face in the direction the crowd is moving so you don't get kicked, and try to get back on your feet ASAP. If it's brown, lie down. If it's black, fight back. If it's white, you ducked. For bear encounters, I've met so many casual hikers in bear country, with no idea there's bears in the same woods as them. If it's white, good night. In the US, and I think some other Western countries, you can notify your Department of State that you are going overseas for free. I think it is the Smart Traveler program. This means in event of a natural disaster / political issue, etc., they will know you need evacuation. They also update you on the state of the country as time goes by, so you don't accidentally collide with some trouble. A lot of accidents happen just by being in the wrong place at the wrong time, so if you're traveling, it might be worth looking into. If you ever get lost, the first thing to do is stop moving. Sit down, stop freaking out, and think. If you give in to panic and lose your head, you can screw things up so badly for yourself that help will never find you. Remember the rule of 3, starvation will kill you in 3 weeks. Thirst will kill you in 3 days. Cold will kill you in 3 hours. Lack of oxygen will kill you in 3 minutes. Panic will kill you in 3 seconds. Pay attention to your gut and natural intuition. If you feel like you're in danger, it's because you're in danger, even if you can't quite articulate why. If a person seems sketchy or threatening, it's because they are. Intuition is finely developed by evolution, and generally speaking it will only fail you when you mind duck yourself and deny it in order to appease an extremely modern sense of political correctness. Read The Gift of Fear by Gavin D. Becker. Frequent pre-victimization indicators displayed by predators include force teaming. This is when a person implies that they have something in common with their chosen victim, acting as if they have a shared predicament when that isn't really true. Speaking in we terms is a mark of this. That is, we don't need to talk outside, let's go in. Charm and niceness. This is being polite and friendly to a chosen victim in order to manipulate him or her by disarming their mistrust. Too many details. If a person is lying, they will add excessive details to make themselves sound more credible to their chosen victim. Typecasting. An insult is used to get a chosen victim who would otherwise ignore one to engage in conversation to counteract the insult. For example, "Oh, I bet you're too stuck up to talk to a guy like me." The tendency is for the chosen victim to want to prove the insult untrue. Loan sharking. Giving unsolicited help to the chosen victim, and anticipating they'll feel obliged to extend some reciprocal openness in return. The unsolicited promise. A promise to do, or not do, something when no such promise is asked for. This usually means that such a promise will be broken. For example, an unsolicited, "I promise I'll leave you alone after this," usually means the chosen victim will not be left alone. Similarly, an unsolicited, "I promise I won't hurt you," usually means the person intends to hurt their chosen victim. Discounting the word no. Refusing to accept rejection. When walking in Big 5 territory, if you encounter lions, don't run. If they come towards you, growling, it's to say you are too close but they will not attack you. Just walk away slowly and don't lose sight of them. Or stand your ground. Intelligence is your biggest weapon then. Shout and clap your hands and they will run away. Source: I'm a Kruger wildlife guide, with more than 10 encounters with wild lions in the last year. Seriously, don't run.